Let's open the book on this. Today in Albany, a Troy man is facing charges after a violent altercation at the Cloverfest concert at MVP Arena. We've also got a debate over a big battery project in the Adirondacks, and we're checking in on the decades-old fish advisory on the Hudson River.
All right, let's set the stage for this one. Quick hits now, details in a beat.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Garrett. Welcome to Laid Back Local, the news of the day, with Leah and Garrett in Albany, New York. Let's dive right in. First up, a 21-year-old from Troy was arrested at Cloverfest, the hip-hop concert at downtown's MVP Arena. Police say he was acting irrationally, security called for help, and during the response, a sergeant was punched in the head. The man is now charged with second-degree assault and resisting arrest.
Second-degree assault is a felony, meaning the state views it as a serious crime involving real injury. Resisting arrest is when someone physically fights or refuses while officers try to detain them. The sergeant was treated at the hospital and released, and the suspect is scheduled for arraignment in Albany City Court, the first appearance before a judge.
Albany County Sheriff Craig Apple, the county's top law enforcement officer, said many concertgoers seemed intoxicated, which tracks with big festival energy. Officers typically work in rotating teams of 3 to 4, small squads meant to move fast in a crowd, but even then it can get dicey during a surge of people.
Yeah, MVP Arena is built for big nights like this, but when people mix alcohol, hype, and tight spaces, security has to really read the room. Why is it so hard to keep events calm when folks are intoxicated? Real talk. When judgment drops and reflexes slow, small conflicts can flare into something bigger in seconds.
Totally. That's why you see layered safety, venue security, police on standby, and medical crews ready to go. The surprising part is that, despite the initial violence, the suspect was taken into custody without further incident. That could have been a lot worse in a packed bowl.
Let's not let this slide. It's a reminder that big nights out come with big responsibilities. Hydrate, look out for your friends, and if security makes a call, it's about keeping everyone safe. That's the heartbeat of it.
All right, let's roll on.
Okay, let's move on. Northampton is considering a 1-year moratorium, which is a temporary pause, on a utility-scale battery energy storage project. The proposal from Carson Power, a developer, inside the Adirondack Park. The Adirondack Park Agency, the state authority that regulates development in the park, issued a permit in January, but the town wants to hit pause over fire safety and environmental concerns. There's a public hearing planned, and if adopted, the moratorium could be extended.
Battery energy storage systems, or BESS, are basically giant rechargeable batteries that store excess electricity for later. Think grid-sized power banks. Innovators like them because they smooth out the ups and downs of wind and solar, which helps cut greenhouse gas emissions. New York's fire code for these systems is strict: spacing, ventilation, fire suppression. But neighbors still worry about what's called thermal runaway, when a battery overheats and cascades into failure.
I get that. Sensitive landscapes like the Adirondack Park have unique ecosystems, and even a low-probability fire is a big deal if the stakes are high. Also, there have been numerous proposals for battery storage in the park since 2020, so folks are looking at the cumulative impact, not just one project in isolation.
That's a solid point. The flip side is cost and reliability. With storage, you can charge when power is plentiful and cheap, then discharge later, which can lower bills. But siting matters. Why here and why now are fair questions. If the town pauses, it buys time to test the safety plan against local conditions, and I'm down for that balance between innovation and caution.
We've got layers here. The permit's granted at the state level, the town is weighing its local authority with a moratorium, and residents want to see every safeguard spelled out clearly. New thread incoming.
Speaking of which, let's shift over to the Hudson River and a question that keeps coming back. Is the long-standing fish advisory working?
Since 1975, New York State has advised against eating most fish from the Hudson because of PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, industrial chemicals that don't break down easily, which is why they're nicknamed forever chemicals. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency declared the lower 200 miles of the Hudson a Superfund site in 1983, the federal list for priority cleanups.
General Electric, or GE, historically released PCBs from upriver plants. The EPA ordered dredging over a 40-mile stretch in 2002, which GE completed in 2015. In 2021, the state lost a court fight with the EPA over the cleanup's adequacy. In the EPA's most recent review in January 2025, PCB levels are trending down, but the agency said it needs more time to judge whether long-term health protections are on track.
Here's where it gets really interesting. New York's Department of Health issues the fish advisories, but many anglers either don't know about them or choose to ignore them. Why do people still eat the fish despite the warnings? It can be culture, taste, access to affordable protein, or trust gaps. If folks don't see an immediate effect, the risk can feel abstract.
And the debate over accountability keeps going. Environmental groups argue corporations like GE should shoulder more of the burden, while in practice, risk management has shifted to the public through advisories. That's something to chew on, huh?
So the big picture: progress is measurable but slow, health guidance remains in force, and outreach still matters, especially in multiple languages and at popular fishing spots. That's where we'll leave it for now.
All right, that ties it up nicely.
Thanks for spending a few minutes with us here in Albany. Stay informed, take care of each other, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
So there we have it, folks. This has been Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett in Albany, New York.